In this video, I'm going to add in some graphics, a HUD, and some little ticks that check off when the spy has completed their mission. So what we want to do first is I actually found out there was a mistake in here. So you're going to need to go into the object spy under the E key, and where I had originally said set variable document to true, you want to change it to documents. That is what we called it in the initial startup bit. So that's what we want to continually use throughout, and that won't cause us any errors. Now I've imported a few sprites already, and one of them is this HUD that I made, and it's got the 3 objectives for the spy on it. I might just edit this and put some text in on the right hand side over here, and I can use the text tool. That's not very interesting. Pick a decent font. I may have an arcade font. No, I don't. So I'll just have to pick that one. Looks fine. And I'll make it a more interesting size. There we go. Font color of white. And then I'll type that in there. So there's the name of our game over there. And I'll click tick. So that's my HUD there. There's going to be a timer over here. That's just meant to be some wires. And called it HUD. I also made a tick. Just drew that 32 by 32. The origin of each is 0, 0. And that's important that it's up there, because where I want to draw it from, I want to start drawing from there, and I can make calculations based on that location. Now I've also extended the size of my room. You'll see here that there's this extra bit down the bottom. If I just turn the grid off, there's this extra grey bit down the bottom. The size of my HUD is 640 by 40, so it's 640 wide, but it's 40 high. So I decided to, well, let's go and make the room another 40 pixels high, so I can just put the HUD down the bottom there. So now the height of the room is 640 by 520. I don't need to change anything else. I can just slot the HUD in there. Now I've made an object called Object HUD Controller. And this is called Object HUD Controller. It does not have any sprites, because when we do the draw sprites, any sprite we select here goes invisible anyway. So what I've done is I've created an event called draw. So add event, draw. And in here, the very first command is to draw a sprite, and I'm going to draw the HUD. It's going to be at the location it starts drawing it at is going to be at the X position of 0, so that left side of the screen, and it's going to be 480 down. So what it's going to do is it's going to pick the origin of that image, which is at 0, 0, and it's going to start drawing it from this particular location here at subimage -1. Now I'll explain the rest of these bits in a moment, but just to hit play, you can see that it does work. It draws it down here. So this is 0 across and 480 down to there. And so there's my HUD at the bottom. I'll give you that graphic so you don't have to draw that yourself. Now the next thing I'm going to do is check to see whether the spy has completed objectives. And if they do complete objectives, I'm going to put a tick on the screen in the location. So let's say I pick up this document here. It puts a tick down there, so that both players can quickly see which objectives have been completed. And it also just makes it look a bit more official. So if I do this, that second one has been completed, and I've actually got those around the wrong way. That one should have been ticked there. So that's something that I found out and I'll have to fix up. So now all 3 of them have been completed. I should exit the level, which I haven't coded that part yet, but I can see that all 3 missions have been completed. So I'll just swap these 2 around. So if the ambassador is equal to true, and then I'll explain it. So what these 3 things here do, they're all the same, and they're just drawing ticks. It's checking to see if a variable is true, but the variable that I'm checking is actually part of the object spy. So it's not part of this object. If you remember in Object Spy, we created those variables that check to see whether they've completed the goal. And in here, I'm going to check those same variables on Object Spy and see if it's true. If it is true, draw a tick. And same with if they've contacted the ambassador. If that's true, draw a tick in that location. Now I'll give you the locations. It took me a little while to figure them out. It's 204 across, 480 down for the first tick for documents. It's 280 across and 480 down for the second tick for ambassador. And it's 358 across and 480 down for the last tick. Now the place I got that from was in here, edit the sprite. Look at this. And down the bottom here, I can see the X and Y location of my mouse. So if I move it to about there, that's about 204 across. And I know I want to start it from 480 down anyway. So, and then that's 284 or something, and then that one's about 358 there. So that's where I got those values from. So now that I put those in, that part does work. I showed you that before, testing it. So the next thing to do is to actually create the game over and win screens. There's one more thing I've got to do though before I do that, and that is to create the counter spy's bullet sprite and the fact that he can shoot. So let's do that now. We'll create a bullet sprite, SPR, bullet, and edit sprite. New. I'll make it 32 by 32 in this case, and I'm just going to create the bullet right in the center of it. So it's only going to be a small bullet. I'll make a red outline with a yellow fill and put that just in the center. I might zoom in on that and move it up just 1-2 pixels. That's about right. And I'm going to do just a larger outline for the red. That'll do. Alright, so there's my bullet sprite for the spy's bullet. I'm going to have to create an object for that bullet. OBJ bullet, and sprite is going to be sprite bullet. Add event create. I don't really need anything there at the moment. We're going to have to just leave that for now. And on the object counter spy, we're going to have an event. Now, I haven't actually decided which one we're doing at the moment. So he's got the arrow keys to move. So maybe right control might be the event that we shoot with. Control. So the control, or maybe the right shift key, or the space bar or something like that. It's up to you. We're going to make him shoot a bullet. So what's going to happen is we're going to have to create a variable at the start. Use control. Maybe we'll call it can shoot is equal to 1. So it starts off with the variable can shoot. When we set here, we're going to check to make sure that he can shoot. Actually, we shouldn't need to because he's only got one bullet and he's always going to have that one bullet, so we're not going to worry about that. What we are going to do though is create a bullet in the direction that he's facing, which means we're going to have to add in another variable here. So let's create this here. I'm just kind of making this up as I go along at the moment, but I know where I'm heading with it. So we're going to make a variable called dir. We can't use direction because that's already a built-in variable, and we're going to set that to, we'll set it to left. So at the start of the game he's facing left. Doesn't really matter because we're going to change that fairly quickly. And I will need to put this in quotations like that. So variable left. We could actually use 0, 1, 2, 3 for different directions, but then I've got to remember what they are. So we'll just do it with left. Okay, so when we push left, we're going to set the variable, which is called dir, to left. When we push up, we're going to set the variable dir to up. When we push right, we're going to set the direction variable to right. And when we push down, we're going to set the direction variable to down. Now when we go control, we're going to have a whole lot of these check variables. If dir is equal to down, then we're going to create moving instance bullet at x, y relative, speed maybe 6, and direction down, which is 270. Now I'm just going to copy this and change this one to up, change this one to left, and change this one to right. Now on here, everything else is the same except this is the up one, so it's going to be 90. This is the left one, so this is going to be 180. And this is the right one, so this is going to be 0. And finally, I'm going to set variable can shoot to 1. So let's hit play. So now I've got my assassin guy here. And I was meant to set can shoot to 0, by the way. And when I push control, he should fire a bullet in the last direction that he was going. Now there is an error here. It's just letting him shoot unlimited bullets. He's also moving faster than the bullets. So I might need to turn the speed of those things up. So let's go and make a check at the top of this here. So we're going to put all of this in a block, and we're going to test a variable right at the top. If can shoot is equal to 1, right at the bottom we'll set it to 0, and we can actually just put that in underneath there. If it's the first time it does it, it should work, and we'll test it out. So he's going down and hit control, it shoots 1 bullet. I can't shoot anymore. Now we're going to need another check now, and that's going to be in the bullet. What happens when the bullet collides with a wall? If the bullet collides with the wall, we're going to destroy instance self. Then we're going to add another event, bullet collides with a person, destroy instance self. We're just going to add all of these in for nearly all of them. Instance self, add event, collision with object escape. Oh, we don't really need that one. Oh no, we should put it in. Destroy instance self, add event, collision, and the only other thing to do is the object spy, but we're going to make that separate because we want it to collide with that one. Actually, we can put it in here. Collision, object spy. Okay, if it collides with object person, any of these, it's going to be game over for there. If it collides with the spy, it's going to be game over for the spy. This is the only situation where the spy can lose, if the counter spy kills him. So we're going to need to add in some more objects here. So we're going to have obj game over, and this sprite is going to be the lose sprite, and then the next one is obj win, and this one's going to be the win sprite that I made before. So the win and lose sprite look like this. The spy is successful, the spy has failed, and I'll probably have to swap those around. This is the one where it says the spy is successful. Oh no, the spy has failed. Yeah, okay. So let's go back into our bullet. When collides with the object person, destroy the instance, and I'm going to create instance, which is object game over, and click OK. And I'm going to make it 0, 0. So it's going to actually fill the whole screen because I think these sprites are 640 by 480. So if I make the 0, 0, it'll just start drawing from the top left corner. Same with this one, 0, 0, and that's going to come in from the top left corner. So if they shoot the president by mistake, it's going to come in and say object game over, don't need relative. If they shoot object wall, create instance of object game over. Sorry, couldn't see those bits on the right there. I was just using this one, it's on main 1. And object escape, create object game over there. However, if they shoot the spy, collision with the spy, then what's going to happen is we're going to create instance object win there. So let's just test this and see what happens. We should have pretty much most of the game made by now. There appears to be some kind of glitch here where the president hasn't shown up, so let's run that back and see what's happened. There we go, there he is. Okay, so if I get this object, that's working down there. We'll just test all 3 of these things first. So that guy's cached up, and now for the president. Oh, now I've got to chase him all the way this way. Oh, he's gone in there. Okay, we'll assume that he works. And then this guy here has got to hit him. So he's facing to the right, push control, the spy is successful. That was a mistake. I'll go back here. I must have put in the wrong things. Also, I forgot to destroy the instance itself. So with these, it's going to be the opposite way around. Game over. And all of these other ones are going to have win, where the counter spy wins. And we'll check that in just a sec. And then the next video will actually make all the graphics for it. There's the spy in the center there. The spy has failed. Counter spy wins. And just test it again. Where's the bad guy? Oh, there he is, up in the top right corner. I'll just shoot a good guy. So we'll shoot this guy that's coming down here. The spy is successful. Okay, so the spy wins because the assassin's out of bullets, or the counter spy's out of bullets. He can't do anything now, so the spy automatically wins. Now, of course, there's more to the game than this. We should actually have a way to restart it, a title screen, and some other things like that. We're not going to worry about that. What we are going to worry about is getting the graphics into this so that it looks a bit more interesting than just some blocks on a page. The last thing also after we get the graphics in is to make the spy successfully escape.